both come from different perspectives. I see people make investment decisions that are mistakes based on emotion. You see them make life decisions that sometimes are mistaken. Maybe you could give us some examples or share some thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of examples, but I think that people, when they get very emotional, they're going to make a lot of different decisions, like whether or not they want to take a different job, or what's going on with the economy, and should they start thinking about putting their resume out there, or relationships, right? I work with a lot of people in relationships, and a lot of people make decisions that are very emotionally based, and they're not really thinking about what's in their best interest, like long term. And so they're gonna, as their brain is kind of doing whatever it's doing and very emotionally charged, they might be making poor decisions about who they're gonna date and how often they're gonna date, and like, what does dating mean to them, and maybe this person is more important than they actually are. And I think all those types of decisions, also around just dealing with family members and how they're going to deal with family members, because you have all different types of situations where, I have people that recently got married and they had some bad experience with, say, like in-laws, as an example. And how do they confront the in-laws or their parents about some of the issues? It's very emotionally charged. So lots of times they'll write out some things because they're just so emotionally charged and affected by these very personal experiences in their life that, without taming the brain and calming down, they say and do things that, can have consequences. So there's like so many examples of people just, oh my God, I felt good in the moment, I'm going to make that decision. You're like, well, no, not, if you could go back, and do it over again, they're like, oh, I would do this. Be like, okay, let's go there, right?
Yeah. Interesting, because a lot of these decisions, if they were looking out at someone else's situation, they'd probably know exactly what to do.
Yes.
But instead, it's theirs.
Yeah.
They are emotionally charged.
Yeah.
And they'll do the opposite of maybe what they would have suggested to someone else.
Yeah. I mean, that's really common. Many people say, well, I don't take my own advice. I'm like, well, why not? I mean, like, why aren't you, they're quick, because when you're doing that for another person, you are, you don't have the emotional investment as you do with yourself. And I think when you're on the outside and you're listening to someone with an issue, you might be more inclined to be thinking about things because you're calmed down. This isn't an investment for you. You're rational, and then you can think about it. But for yourself, you're in the moment and you're feeling like in the spin cycle. What do I do? What do I do? And even though they know, oh yeah, that would have been a better idea, they go with something that's oftentimes it's impulsive, and it's really not healthy. So it's because their brain, and we'll talk more about this, is just calmed down.
There's a clinical reason
to
do it.
Yeah, a biological, physiological reason.
Looking at someone else's situation, our brain is normal. When it's our situation, we have all kinds of weird stuff, which you're going to explain, going on in our neurosensories that get us to really clouded. We need a coach, I think, when it comes to our own decision making, right? Yeah. I know I feel like in the investment markets, people make bad decisions almost always when they come to me. That's usually after they've made a series of them. They want a professional. And what I've seen historically is they make very poor investment decisions almost always for the same reason you're suggesting that they do when it comes to life, relationships, etc. And that is, particularly in the investment markets, people are fearful. Mm-hmm. Right, of the stock market's falling today because there's a tariff or whatever the news of the day may be. It scares me, so I'm going to sell. And of course, that can sometimes be a mistake because A, you're selling. Why am I selling? I don't have a lot of information. I'm selling because I'm fearful. And then of course, the next day, the market goes dramatically up. That's a mistake based on emotion. I also see it where investors have a crowd psychology. My neighbor's investing in this, and they say to do that on CNBC or in the media, so I should do. A lot of times that is when everybody's saying it, which we'll talk about, that's the last thing you should do, right? Because investing is only so many people can invest. When everybody's doing it, it can't go up a lot more. So I see a lot of decision making that's very, very bad. Really back to fear and greed. I've got to make more money, maybe because I don't, we can never have enough. Yeah. I see people who have enough and they invest way too aggressively and of course lose tons of money, and then they're in a tough position. Again, all emotionally driven.